Have you ever wondered how food affects your mental wellness? Well, if this is something that you have pondered before, then you're at the right place, because today, in just a minute, I'm going to talk all about how nutrition is a building block towards your mental wellness. So stay tuned. Hi there and welcome back. And you know what? Today is all about the building blocks for mental wellness. And nutrition is one of those building blocks. So there's so much hype and information in today's world on how good nutrition plays a big role in your mental wellness. But what foods are you supposed to eat in order to get that building block for your mental wellness? Those are great questions. And I'm going to first begin by letting you know what my definition of the word mental wellness even is. I love the term mental fitness because to me, exercising your mental fitness is just as important as exercising your physical fitness. And we all know that in order to get physically fit, there's steps and protocols in place in order for you to build on your physical fitness. It's the same way with mental fitness. There are steps that you can take. There are building blocks to put in place in order to get the best mental fitness that you can. So nutrition is one of them. And science has proven that food plays a big role and has a big impact on our overall health, whether it's bad food or good food. When we're ingesting and inhaling and putting all this processed junk food into this body, into our bodies, then we know that it's going to have a devastating effect on our overall health. We've heard that, food impacts disease like cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, dementia, anti-inflammatory diseases. It declines our immune system. Our overall health just goes down when we put only processed junk foods into our bodies. But the same alternate is true. When we put good, healthy nourishment, good nutrient-dense foods into our body, then our moods go up. Our depression lessens, our anxiety lessens, and we actually can build on our mental fitness. It's true. And so it should be no surprise that nourishment and good, healthy nourishment should be something that we use as a frontline defense rather than an after effect on, declining health. So let's talk about nutrition. There's a lot of information and research about how a healthy diet rich in nutrients improves our gut health, our skin, our minds, our sleep hygiene, our moods. It alters our mood. So when we think of good nourishment into this body, it is a frontline defense. It's a preventative care versus a crisis care. Now, I would way rather do that and put good foods into my body as preventative care than augment my health after I've declined. And I'm sure you would too. It's really time that we get back to the basics of healthy eating. And, in our world today, we are so accustomed to a Western diet. Now, a Western diet is filled with burgers and fries, cakes and cookies, sweets, doughs, breads, ice cream. I'm going to say a lot of processed meats and junk that has filled with nasty chemicals, preservatives, food colorings and dyes, and all things that are actually harmful to our body, and they are not beneficial to our body. They're not helping us, they're actually hurting us. So let's have a look at what the Bible says, because the Bible is really our blueprint for living, or our roadmap for life. And I love the verse in 1 Corinthians where it talks about treating our body like a temple. Now, I'm sure you've heard of that before, where we're supposed to treat our bodies like a temple. But what does this even mean to you? Well, when I hear the word treat our body like a temple, I immediately think of when Jesus was 12 years old and he was teaching in the temple. It was a holy place, a reverent place, a place of worship, a place where this temple was respected. And so if we want to dive deeper into what that looks like, we have the Holy Spirit living within us. So our body is a temple, and we need to respect our body. We need to nourish our body and treat it with the utmost care, like we would a temple. So in order to do this, I'm going to say we need to be, first and foremost, starting to look at the ingredient list and things, looking and reading the labels so that we aren't filling our bodies, our temples, with all those nasty ingredients and preservatives and all the added sugars that we know cause our body harm. New science connects food with mood, anxiety, and depression. So if we know that there's a connection with food and mental wellness, then we need to do the best for our temple to give our mental wellness the aid that it needs, the nutrients that it needs, the best rich, nutrient-dense food that we can put into this body. We know that we can fight off a lot of diseases by the right nutrients. And you've heard it said, we are what we eat. But I've also heard it said, we are what we absorb. So making sure we're getting the right vegetables and fruit and minerals and vitamins into our body so that the nutrients are absorbed properly is just as vital as just thinking about putting good food into our body. It all has to work together so that our bodies are working to the fullest capacity, to the best of its ability to help us live the best we can live. So in saying this, right now, I want to say, if you're still with me, I want to tell you that at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little short rhyme that is going to be helpful in knowing what foods that you should put into your temple so that you are giving your body nourishment and giving your brain the nourishment and the nutrients it needs for the best mental wellness or mental fitness or mental health. So stay tuned till the end and I'm going to give you a rhyme that's very, very helpful. But I'm going to say now that research shows that 1 out of 5 people every given year struggle with mental health issues or mental illness. Now, when I say mental illness, this is at the dysfunctional end of the mental health continuum. If you've never heard of the mental health continuum, it's a line, and everyone is on this line. At one end of the spectrum is optimal mental wellness, and at the opposite end is complete dysfunction. Now, when you're lacking the nutrients that you need to have optimal mental wellness, then your body starts to go down the line towards dysfunction. We are not immune to stress. We all have stress in our lives. And so we're not immune to mental illness. But we need to do everything that we can in order to be resilient and bounce back up to optimal mental wellness. And nourishment, nutrients, food is one of those building blocks to have in your tool belt to know what to feed your brain so that you can bounce back up to optimal mental wellness. We all want that. We all need it. And we want to live the best we can live. So research shows that when we go back to a traditional diet, more of eating fresh fruits and fresh vegetables and a variety of vegetables. In fact, it's a good way to look at vegetables is to think of the color of the rainbow. When we have colors incorporated into our everyday foods, then we know that we're getting a lot of different minerals and vitamins and a lot of rich nutrients into our everyday diet to feed on our mental fitness. The two are correlated, remember that. We must ask ourselves, if nutrition plays such an important role in mental health and wellness, then what are we going to do to our bodies to give our bodies the greatest source of nutrients that we can? Dr. Drew Ramsey is a psychiatrist and nutritionist, and he speaks about how nutrition and mental health are correlated. In fact, he says our Western diet is not helpful for our brain health at all. He talks about the burgers and the fries and the cakes and the cookies and the doughs and the breads. And he says that all of this, plus the added sugars that are in so many foods, actually double our risk of depression. That's mind-blowing. That statistic in itself should be enough for us to sit up and take note and say, I need to know what foods nourish my mental wellness. And so Dr. Drew Ramsey also did a study. He took 100 students, and what he did with them is he gave them a box of food with the good nutrients that actually are good for brain health. After just 3 weeks of these students incorporating these good, healthy, nourishing foods into their everyday living, in just 3 weeks, their levels of depression and anxiety were lowered by 30%. That's enough to make me want to change what I'm putting into my body. And I hope it's enough for you to want to change what you're putting into your body too. So right now I want to give you that little rhyme or the little tip that you can memorize so that you can have a takeaway from this video. And when you go grocery shopping, you can think about this little rhyme, which is going to help you purchase the right foods to incorporate in your everyday nourishment for your mental fitness. So here it is, and it's from Dr. Drew Ramsey. He says, seafood, greens, nuts and beans, and a little dark chocolate goes a long way. Okay, so I'm going to say that once more. Seafood, greens, nuts and beans, and a little dark chocolate goes a long way. That's it. You can memorize that, I can memorize that, and we can take that statement with us to any store where we're shopping for food or a farmer's market. But when we talk about seafood, maybe you don't really care for a lot of seafood right now, but Dr. Ramsey says that we just need to start where we're at. So if you don't like mussels and clams, but you're okay with shrimp, then go with shrimp for now and start to build on those building blocks of nutrition and start to add a little bit of more seafood into your diet every single week. Maybe it's the good, healthy, the fish, the salmon. There are so many things that's seafood, but it does not include breaded fish sticks, okay? That doesn't qualify for the seafood. Okay, then we go from seafood to greens. Now, what greens can you incorporate for the best mental wellness or nourishment for your brain? Well, he says dark leafy vegetables are very, very good. And that includes kale. It includes arugula, which you can add to any salad or to a sandwich. And another one he suggests is Brussels sprouts. These are dark leafy green vegetables, and they have a lot of antioxidants in them, and they have a high ORAC score. And so I'm not going to talk about what that is right now, but you can look it up. But those are just some suggestions for you to start getting some healthy brain food into your everyday living. Okay, seafood, greens, nuts. What are some nuts, and how do you incorporate them into your day? Well, I love to have like almonds or pecans as a snack, as a healthy snack, or I like to add them to my oatmeal for breakfast, or you can add them to salads and to those leafy greens. But there are easy ways to incorporate these healthy fats into our everyday diet. Just be sure that you're not buying the packaged nuts and packages of things, of these seeds that have a lot of added sodium or sugars to them, because remember, processed stuff has a lot of nasty ingredients that we want to avoid. So always be reading the labels. Okay, it's seafood, greens, nuts, and beans. Now, beans come in a variety of forms. You can have black beans, pinto beans, you can have white beans, navy beans, kidney beans. There are so many beans, but again, if you're buying a can of beans, make sure you check the list of ingredients, because you'll be surprised at how much sugar is in some of those cans. What you can do is buy the dry beans, and maybe you have an Instapot and you can cook them and add spices and make your own recipes. It's a great way to incorporate brain health into your everyday living. Seafood, greens, nuts, and beans. Now that's very simply put, but it's a great start on building on the nutrition, building the building blocks for your mental fitness. Now the last piece of that little rhyme is a little bit of dark chocolate. Who doesn't like chocolate? So remember, it's the dark chocolate because that has the higher antioxidants in it, and that's going to fight the free radicals in your body, which is going to, just continue improving on your mental fitness and lowering your levels of anxiety and depression. So have a little chocolate in your house and give yourself this wonderful nutritional nourishment that's going to feed your brain. Another thing I just want to say is that science shows that our microbiome, which is our gut, has trillions of bacteria, and the types of foods that affect our gut also affect our brain. So it's time that we get back to the basics. Get back to the basics of whole, clean, living foods. And this is going to be a great building block on your mental fitness. Now, there's other building blocks to do with mental fitness, and some of it is our thoughts, because how we feed our thoughts matter as well, and that matters for our mental wellness, just like nourishment and food for our bodies. But let's remember that our body is a temple. Your mind matters, your soul matters, and your body matters. But starting with the building block of nourishment is one of the things that you can change up today, this week. You can incorporate some of those healthy, nourishing foods so that you are building on the building blocks for your mental fitness. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon. Remember, stay tuned and leave a comment below and let us know what has been helpful and what you would like to learn more about. Bye for now.